Talk a little bit about the movie. The thumbnail controversy at hand is about the John Wick, the third chapter in the John Wick series. I saw it last night.
Bastard.
We will not spoil anything for anybody. JT, no spoilers here for the audience. This movie is as consistent as the other two. I really loved it. I will say that, and this is not an insult to it, I loved the first half. Loved. And I really, really enjoyed the second. And I really, really enjoyed the second half. I loved the first and really, really enjoyed the second half. And that's, again, not an insult. I think that the first movie is my favorite, and I'm probably tied with 2 and 3 at the same.
Would you say this is one of your favorite trilogies?
It's pretty close because it's so consistent and it's just so much fun. The first half an hour of this movie, it's the best out of the whole series. They do some new, inventive, crazy shit the way he kills people, and it's a lot of fun. And Halle Berry, who I was concerned about, not because I don't like her as an actress, but because sometimes we talked about it yesterday on the show. Is you look and you go, oh, there's Halle Berry, and she wasn't great in Kingsman 2.
Where you see the actor more so than the character.
Yeah, and I didn't, and I that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case in this one. I actually thought that is amazing, right there. There's a picture of the JT Ewick. Who made that?
That's daytime, JT.
Cody, did you just make that just now?
No, someone from here did.
Oh, that's good.
That's what daytime looks like, JT.
JT, what were your overall thoughts of the movie?
Yeah, I loved it. I really liked the first one because I think it had the most personal story. And I think the second one really delved into the world building. And I felt like a little bit in part 2 that the gunfights got a little repetitive. What I really liked about this third one was the creativity in the kills.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, he used environmental stuff to just take dudes out. Like, the situations they were able to put him in, I thought were so much more creative and cool and just badass than the second movie. So I think it's definitely a step above the second film. And I understand what you're saying about you like the first half and the second half. I think they're different rhythms.
Yeah.
I think the first half takes place right after part 2. That's not a spoiler. Like, he's on the run, and then things kind of shift. But I do think it was one of those things where I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I think this is the final action scene. And then a whole other action scene would kind of come again. And I'm like, holy shit, they're still going with this?
Yeah.
It kind of gave me some flashbacks of the Raid.
It
Like,
absolutely
when I watched
did.
The Raid,
Absolutely. And even had one of the characters from the Raid in the movie, yeah.
Exactly, and that can't be by mistake.
True.
So it's one of those things where if you're just an action junkie and you just want some fantastic choreography and great action sequences, I think this one kind of tops the first 2. Although I don't think it ever gets that personal touch like the first one had.
I got to tell you, I agree 100% with that assessment, and I think that there's the creativity inside of this movie is bar none. There's some stuff, even like the Halle Berry stuff. That entire
She's
sequence
fantastic.
is amazing.
Yeah.
It is great. There's some really fun stuff in it. And our boy shows up from Game of Thrones.
That's right. Ian Glenn, he's in there.
Yeah, and it's the mythology of it that I was very curious about. There's some stuff that you got to suspend. You obviously got to suspend disbelief for this entire franchise, but this one, there's certain times that's like, oh, they're getting a little bit of Fast and Furious for me, but I'm over it. But I think that I agree with you 100%, JT, that I got a lot of Raid vibes. I think I turned to it was Kalinowski was there last night, and I said, oh man, this kind of reminds me of the Raid a little bit. Roka, how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it to pieces from top to bottom. It was a lot of fun because I didn't like 2 that much. I thought 2 had enough of 1 the elements of 1 to enjoy it, but I thought it tried to overreach with characters that you didn't really care about. In this one, they brought back the characters you did care about from the second one and weaved it seamlessly into this story and raise the stakes. Like every film, you think they can't raise the stakes more or make them odds more insurmountable, and they do in this film. And they give you a little bit of backstory for John Wick, which we didn't get in the first film. So I think that was great too to see a little bit. You talk about a personal story, JT, in 1. They do some of that in this film as well to kind of in the moments that you get a chance to breathe. They do a nice job of like giving you a little bit of background with John Wick and seeing where he's going.
Would you guys say, question for everyone, that this is one of Keanu's best roles?
Yeah.
You mean the character of John Wick? Yeah,
For sure.
100%.
If not the best?
Neo, what he did with Neo the first time around is tough, and him and Speed was pretty good. But I mean, John Wick's and Bill.
He's just
Ted.
so perfect as John Wick,
He's
and
perfect.
Ted obviously.
Yeah, and because you know what it is, it's his delivery that in other movies that sometimes you're like, yeah, he's not the best actor, but it works in this movie.
Like Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Right, but if you ask him a question in John Wick and he's like, "Is this it, John?" He goes, "Yeah," and it works.
Yeah,
it works. Those types of things. But what did you think about his performance, JT, overall in this particular movie?
Yeah, I think it's suited really well for Keanu Reeves. I think, back when you think about The Matrix, it really just kind of like a marriage of who we know Keanu as and kind of fitting into these certain type of quiet roles. And it's more about the physicality than it is him trying to give these monologues. So I do think it was perfectly tailored for Keanu Reeves. And he was really good friends with these guys. He worked with this director from the Matrix movies. So I just think they knew exactly how to use him. I think the first movie definitely gives him the most range to kind of because he's going through some shit in that first movie after the dog goes.
Right.
Whereas this one, much like the second one, he's a train and nothing's going to stop him. If you get in his way, he's going to crash right through the track.
And this is in the trailer, so it's out there in the advertising. One of my favorite parts that they showed in the trailer that is in the movie is when I think Halle Berry says something about a dog, and then John Wick looks down and he goes, I get it. And it was such a great line, a nice throwback to the first movie. And they did that a lot. They threw back to they acknowledged everything going in the first two. And Ian McShane, who is so good.
I love him.
He is so good in this role. He has a lot more to do in this movie, which I liked. So, I mean, it's one of those things to sit on it a little bit more because I heard both what you and Roke were saying, and I agree with John very much so that I think that you get a lot more from John Wick as far as a character and a story and a backstory, and I liked that element. I think I definitely need to see it again. It's a very rewatchable movie.
How would you guys rank the trilogy?
Right now, I would say 1. I probably am going to eventually put 3 over, but I'm going to tie them. I'll probably put 3. Just for now, I'll put 3 as slightly over 2, but I need a rewatch.
Yeah,
I need a rewatch. I've seen 2 3 times.
I would put 1, 3, 2, and 3 with 3 coming really close to
1.
taking 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you, JT? Where do you stand?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3, 1, 2. And
Wow.
because at the end of the day, I go to these movies for the action.
Yeah.
And I do think Part 3 has the best action from beginning to end.
I agree with
I think
you.
the
That's
first one's
awesome.
finding their footing. The second one, they kind of, do a little more hand-to-hand combat. What I really like about this third one was the hand-to-hand combat is on par with the gunfight.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I wouldn't say that was the case in the first 2 movies. So I really thought they brought to another level with this one.
And I will say, there are a couple of meta moments that completely work that would have been cheesy in any other movie.
Yeah.
They completely work in this movie, and it's perfect timing in terms of the comedy of those meta moments. It really is.
Well, Littlest of Evil, JTE, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and please go find someone else to make fun of their thumbnails. Thank you so much.
I still do.
All right.
guys
Love you, brother.
Bye.
Later.
See you, JT.
It's a great JT. Yes, I say what you will about his vocabulary. His reviewing is actually really good.
He's great.
And he and I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. Out of all the people in this space, I'm usually more so, if you look at all the reviews in the past, on JTE's.
You guys are
You
great.
agree with him more?
Yeah.
We have very similar tastes, he and I.